Good morning, everyone. And Emily and we are thrilled to welcome you at our first WordscapesCon.
So I want to talk about why community matters so much to us. And to do that, I do want to go back a little bit in Wordscapes history. So back in January of 2020, we had about 165,000 Facebook followers. Now, the game had been around for about 3 years at that point, but there wasn't too much going on with it. There weren't too many features. We had the levels, but we didn't have unlimited levels yet. We're still releasing levels every few weeks or every few months. The daily puzzle, we had the individual tournament, but not the team tournament. The piggy bank was there. That's all we had going on. January 2020 was also when I first started working here. So before I started working here, there was a Facebook presence, but they would post about once a month, maybe less than once a month, because there wasn't too much to talk about. When they did post, it would usually be saying there are new levels, so come play our new levels. I started, and we really started looking at growing the community. About that same time, new features started coming out. So crowns were actually first introduced in February of 2020. So I got to start posting about new things like crown tournaments and starting to pick up more traction in the community. Really early on, we started seeing comments that showed us just how creative and how enthusiastic this community really is. So even though there wasn't much going on, we would get comments like, I won the last tournament, now I think I won't win because I'm running out of puzzles. That's how much they play. A lot of posts about being addicted to Wordscapes. Has anyone ever played Wordscapes before, looking for a support group for those addicted? And as we started getting more features out, we started getting even more creative and dedicated posts from the community. So our ambassadors will recognize these very well. This first one is an example of the Wordscapes team leaderboard that is actually put together by players. Now, this is one of the very first ones. I scrolled back and I found it, but this is still put together every week with stats from all of the teams of their points they scored, their average score, their score per minute, and they rank their teams on their own. We also have a lot of Wordscapes recruitment posts for trying to get people into their team. This is, again, one of the very first ones that we saw from Team Clean Slate, and just so creative seeing how people are trying to recruit players. And I find this one very fascinating. This is an example of how players will certify each other in their words per hour. So a player will film themselves playing, and then other players will watch it, make sure everything looks legitimate, and then provide a certificate. This one is from our young Filipino player, Era, who got up to 3,000 words per hour. Wow. We also have seen a lot of dedication and investment on Reddit. So our subreddit was actually created by players, not by us, and it was created in April of 2018. And we really have kept it as a place for the players. We don't comment there, we don't respond, because we think it's important for Wordscapes players to have that place to talk more freely without that involvement from the developers. But of course, we are reading and we are seeing what their issues are, what their concerns are, and seeing stuff like this, like when our Wordscapes wildlife feature first came out. This was created pretty quickly, a summary of what the feature is, but then also really in-depth knowledge about how the feature works and listing out all the animals, all the rewards they give, the minutes per reward, the cost per minute. So you can get really deep into this feature, deeper than we probably even imagined that players would. And so much so that our lead of QA at the time for Wordscapes saw this post, was very impressed, and thought that actually it was very helpful in creating a test plan for testing this feature ourselves. So the community has helped us in that way as well. So now, as John mentioned, community is so important to us. We saw how much the community is investing in us. So we want to invest back into the community. It's our studio mission, bringing people together through fun. And we really want to do that through fans and friends and families. So I have a few examples of this. Over on fans, we think our players, again, so dedicated, big fans of the game. They find creative ways to interact with each other. This is an example of a team, Happy Hooters, who won the tournament. And the second place team just really wanted to congratulate them, but there's no way to actually reach out to other teams. So they changed their team name to Congrats Hooters, and they saw it and were very happy and felt that sense of community. For our friends example, These are friends who actually did meet in the game on a team, and they are friends in real life now. And this is a photo of them meeting up in Dublin. And our family's example doesn't have a comment, but I think it really speaks for itself. To see different generations coming together over something we created just really means so much to us. So after we've invested in the community, here's a look at what our community looks like now. We're at about 394,000 followers on our Facebook page. We also have a Facebook group, which was started as this initiative to grow the community. About 22,000 members there, 100,000 Instagram followers, and 10,000 members in our subreddit. But also, we have so much more to post about now. We have events every day of the week. So every Sunday, we do our weekly events calendar. We have our official Wordscapes player community. That's our Facebook group I was mentioning, where players can have more in-depth conversations with each other. They can do their team recruiting. They can report issues. But we see a lot of lively conversations in there. Wordscapes means a lot to our players. And of course, our players mean so much to us. And the community team, Irina and I and the others, we have a few goals. As a community team, we want to build the communication bridge between the players and the development team. We want to really ensure the community feels heard and just improve community satisfaction in general. So much so that it is also a big part of our community team mission. Our mission is to bring players together, fostering belonging and connection through vibrant communities on Facebook, Instagram, and beyond. We ensure every player feels heard and valued with open communication through social media and customer support. But why is that even important at all to us? We think that building a stronger community makes the game much more meaningful, more personal, and more fun for our players. We think that strong communities build trust, which is very important, and it helps players feel seen, valued, and connected. And we do gain valuable player insights from the community, and that supports the studio mission of bringing people together through fun. And I want to share with you an example of how important the community is to us, that every Monday, our entire company starts with the Monday morning meeting where we talk about what we've been working on, what's going on that week, and we end that meeting with highlights from the community. So every Monday, our meeting is over and we'll see something like this, our highlights of what have been going on in the community in the past week. So from this subreddit, we have the 14 stages of working with Wordscapes animals, just a player's thoughts on how they feel interacting with that feature of the game. We have fun images and memes that players create, and then sometimes we'll do the responses to the community questions, the community contests that we do. It's really important to us to get our heads and our hearts in the right space as we're going into the work week. We think the community is the perfect way to help us make that happen. And we do also use the community as a source to look for issues that have slipped in to the live version of the game. We do see that. And yes, players do send in support tickets, but a lot of times they will go to Facebook first because they want to see if anyone is experiencing the same type of digging in. So Irina is going to talk a little bit more about what we then do with that player feedback.
So first of all, we are super grateful that the community shares with us their feedback and the issues they encounter, because that helps us to improve the game and create the best experience for our players. But how the Wordscapes team responds to the player feedback? So first of all, here at People Fund, we are committed to building trust. And trust is one of the main values of People Fund. And when we speak about the community, the trust starts with listening to player experience. It's either feedback or feature requests or the issue they are encountering with the game. So we want to listen, we want to prioritize, and we want to act. Every day we monitor feedback in different sources. As Emily already shared, we have Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, we read it all. This feedback is reviewed by us, the community team, as well as by the Wordscapes team. And every single issue that is brought by our players is logged, tracked, and prioritized. So let's look at every item closer. So we have two different types of daily reports. One of them is coming from social media. This is what our ambassadors in our community is most familiar with, Facebook, Instagram, and Reddit, We have a few moderators who are reading every single comment that you leave under our post, gather feedback. If there are any issues, they bring them to us as well and file them in Asana that later is being shared with Wordscapes team. Another report coming from customer support. We are looking at how many tickets we've received per day. What is the contact rate? Is it higher than yesterday? If so, why? What are the concerning issues? All of this shared with the Wordscapes team, and every morning we go through every single issue and we are deciding when we're gonna fix it. One of the questions that ambassadors asked us, what happens when we bring the issue to the team or the feedback? So it all starts with player reports an issue to us. On this stage, it comes to the community. So the community team begins tracking it. We create a tag and we start looking for, do we have other players reporting the same issue? Do we know what is broken? Do you know what steps bring to this broken game state? Do we have screenshots? When we have enough information to share with the team so that they can start working with that, we share it with Wordscapes team. And at this stage, the issue is owned by the Wordscapes. The first step, what they do, they try to reproduce it. They have a QA who is trying to replicate the issue on their device. If they could do that, perfect. Probably we're going to fix it pretty soon. But if not, this creates an additional challenge for us because it means we need to investigate more what's happening that breaks the game on your end. When we have all of this information, the product team triages and decides when we're gonna fix it. And when the fix is deployed, it comes back to the community because now we want to understand if issue was really fixed or it's still happening. If it's still happening, the bug life cycle starts from the beginning. So I've been talking a lot about prioritizing. So how do we prioritize our issues? We look at the multiple parameters, and the first one is player impact. How many players are affected by this issue? The next one, which is also very important, is the severity. Does this issue break functionality? Do players lose progress because of this issue? The next one, was this issue introduced in the recent release or new feature? Do we have customer support tools? So if our players reach out to us and say that something is not working, can we help or not? And again, can we reproduce this issue on our end? So why prioritizing at all, right? We have sometimes players waiting for, as they think, some time before we fix the issues. Why we prioritize, why we cannot fix everything at once. So there are best practices that most of the studios are follow, but the more changes you make in the code, the higher risk that you're gonna break something else. That's why development team is breaking down the feature development as well as bug fixes in the smaller batches. And we are releasing them to our players on a cadence about like every 3 weeks. Another thing to look at is time. We've talked about the severity. Imagine we have 10% of the players who, let's say, cannot open the game. We've had these issues before. And let's say we have some other multiple visual glitches going on in the game. So if we decide to fix everything together, those 10% who cannot open the game gonna wait for a very long time before we'll be able to unblock them. So how it's look for players who are affected by some visual glitches? When they get new update, nothing is fixed for me. Yes, because you were not affected by that most severe issue. So while these are mostly best practices, we also have some challenges at PeopleFun. I already talked about them a little bit, and I want to talk a little bit more. So the first one is hard to reproduce issues. We have some bugs that are affecting smaller population of the players. And when we are trying to reproduce these issues, we cannot. We are trying different scenarios and it works. So when we attempt to fix this issue, we're doing it blindly because for our QA team to be able to QA approve that issue was fixed, they first need to be in the broken state. So when we cannot be in the broken state, that's why we are having multiple attempts to fix some of those issues. And the second challenge is that sometimes we have limited information. Sometimes players reach out to us, say, I cannot play the tournament. And we're like, why? You don't have the tournament icon, you don't get stars, the game is not launching. Like, we're not understanding what's happening. And not every player is responding to our questions as well. Not every player providing screenshots. And with this challenge, it's taken even longer for us to gather information, understand what is broken, and to share with the team. And while we're not going to change best practices, we've decided to do something about our challenges. And this year, we started the ambassador program so that we could be connected with our community, with our players, and have to have nonstop, a little bit with stops, conversation with our players, and get all needed information so we can resolve our issues quicker. And what is the ambassador program, how we started it, and how the people find benefit from it? Emily will walk you through.
Let's talk about the ambassador program. First of all, why do we want to have ambassadors in the first place? The main goal of our Wordscapes ambassadors is to educate and support other players. So a few things they do are they alert the team, the development team, of major issues typically within 12 hours. They gather feedback on the game experience and community needs. They also sometimes beforehand participate in playtests to improve new features based on their feedback. And they just generally answer player questions in the community. They help to build trust by communicating with other players on a more personal level. So we can't exactly speak to every single player online. So we are really grateful to have these ambassadors to talk directly to other players on the level as another player themselves. So I have a few examples of that. We had an issue where the tournament groupings were not working like they were supposed to. So we tried to fix it, and we thought from the comments we were seeing this was fixed, but we wanted to make sure. So we asked the ambassadors questions like, this weekend, did you see any delays? Did you see any bot attacks, which we were also working on? Is this glitch still affecting players? And this is an example from Karen, who chimed in and said, nope, everything looks good. And she was able to help us out in that way. In our next example, this is about the same issue where players were reaching out to us feeling very frustrated about the tournaments, which is very understandable. And we assured them, like, yes, we were working on it. But they also know that the ambassadors have this direct line to us, so they can trust more what they say. Like, if we're telling the ambassadors, like, yes, here we are actively working on it, the ambassadors can take that out to the community. That helps a lot in building trust. So here is something that one of our ambassadors shared with the group of team leaders on Facebook. It is so important for us to have that line to the team leaders, because then they can take that information and disseminate it to their own teams, and we just get a lot more mileage that way. And they do help us catch issues as well. So again, there are so many comments. Irina was talking about this a little bit. Sometimes we know there's an issue, but we don't know exactly what's going on. They'll say this is broken, but we won't know in what way is this broken. But after talking to ambassadors, they know how to bring us the information we need. So I have a few examples of that as well. This is when we had an issue with the game even opening, and the ambassador said, hey, Wordscapes, this is happening to me. It's also happening to other people. It seems to be pretty widespread. I'm on an Apple device. This is what it asked me to do, and I can't get past it, so I can't even play. And that's perfect. That is what we need to know about how important this issue is to get fixed, what is happening, what devices. Super helpful. Another example, the ambassador said, hey, Wordscapes, this is on the 3.2.9 update. Again, extremely helpful. And now the app is completely unresponsive. It happens after I do this. Players are locked out and they can't contact support, so you're probably not going to be seeing support tickets coming in. We might not have known there was an issue if it weren't for messages like this from the ambassadors. So this has really helped us to make a speedier connection into seeing what we need to get done and how we can make it happen. Also, sometimes before we get issues in, we like to ask for feedback from our ambassadors on new builds that haven't been released yet. So in this example, we gave them a build of the game that had not been out to players. We had made a few changes, wanted to see how it felt, and they sent us back some screen recordings. They sent us back their feedback and really showed us these examples of what's working, what isn't, and how we can move forward. So we've done a lot of work online with the ambassadors. We've strengthened player connections. We've worked on player feedback, and we're so excited to continue this work in person here at WordscapesCon. Has the ambassador program been a success so far? And I would say absolutely yes. This is our first time we're doing it, so we're working out a lot of what we want this to look like and how we can support the ambassadors, how they can support us. But for that reason, it's been amazing. And having everyone here has been just such a fun time. But we're excited to see how we can grow it in the future. So about that, do you see the ambassador program growing? Where can we improve? What can we do to help the next set of ambassadors? What media platform is Wordscapes underrepresented on? TikTok, Twitch, YouTube. So first of all, yes, this set of ambassadors will be our ambassadors for the year. And then next year we will choose another 10 ambassadors. So these ambassadors can't apply next year, but they are welcome to apply again the year after that. So give them a little break. And then here are some comments from some new voices. So I do want the ambassador program to grow. I think we'll probably stay at about 10 people, at least for now, but we can grow in what we can do together. So I think WordscapesCon has been already like so much more than anyone has imagined it could be. So we've gotten a lot of ideas of how we can work better together and continue in that way. You can absolutely help out the next set of ambassadors by letting us know how your experience has been and what you think we can improve. And then if you have any advice for them, of course, share that in the future. As far as different social media platforms, we do really want to continue focusing on Facebook, both the Facebook page and the Facebook group. That's really the bulk of everything. And then Instagram and Reddit. We do know that we have some players out on TikTok and Twitch and YouTube, and that could be a possibility to branch out into the future. But right now we want to get like really solid ground on Facebook first, Instagram and Reddit, and move forward.
And the last question, does having hundreds of people report the same issue increase the likelihood that it gets addressed? Yes and no. As I shared before, we look at multiple parameters, and one of them is severity. So if we have 1,000 of reports of visual glitch, and we have, let's say, 100 reports of where the game is completely broken, here we will prioritize severity and not the amount of tickets. The second question is, have we encouraged too many people to report issues? No, it's never too many. I guess one of the things that would be helpful for ambassadors to help us with the community is that I just walked you through the whole process, how we track issues, what we do with them. So I would say there is a moment where we understand, okay, this is the issue that's broken. The team is working on the fix. It's going to be fixed in the next or the upcoming release. At this stage, we usually create a bot. And I know that our community doesn't like to talk to bots. So if we could explain it that like the team is aware, they are working on a fix, there is nothing new we can say about this issue, that's why the bot exists, that would be helpful. Yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you. It's time for lunch.